Thank you for staying with us. 2 months ago, the reggae girl Trudy Carter was the victim of racism during a CONCACAF World Cup qualifying match against the Dominican Republic. Now, Major League Soccer in the United States has launched an investigation of alleged racial abuse of another Jamaican international, this time the Reggae Boy Damion Lowe, by DC United's Taxi Fountas. Lowe is a black man. Fountas is a Caucasian man from Greece. The pair clashed during an MLS game on Saturday between Lowe's Inter Miami and Fountas' DC United. Lowe's teammate, DeAndre Yedlin, said the Jamaican was walking away from a coming together with Fountas in the 62nd minute of the match when the racial slur was used. It's alleged that another Inter Miami player, Zambia's Aime Mabika, heard the slur being used and leapt to Lowe's defense. The situation was only diffused after DC United head coach Wayne Rooney made the decisive move to substitute Fountas in the 66th minute. Fountas, he later took to Instagram where he posted this message. "I did not use the word I am being accused of using," wrote the player. "That despicable racial slur is one I denounce and did not use. We had a hot discussion on the field, but I have not racially abused anyone. I firmly reject racism in any form. It is despicable. I have many friends from many cultures. I always respect the culture, religion, and the skin color of each person. I am therefore very upset by this accusation and saddened to be falsely accused," said Taxi Fountas. DC United, meanwhile, issued this statement. DC United are aware of the allegations involving a player during the match against Inter Miami CF. The club will work closely with Major League Soccer and Inter Miami to investigate the incident. The Jamaica Football Federation throwing its full support behind Lowe. The statement from the JFF reads, "We stand in full support of national player Damion Lowe after reports he was addressed with a racist slur in a game on the weekend. The MLS is investigating the incident. The JFF strongly condemns and abhors racism in any form, whether on or off the field, and we stand ready to give whatever support is necessary to Damion." So yeah, that's it. Leighton, what do we have here?
Another incident involving a Jamaican. It wasn't that long ago. I think it was in 2020, October, when Junior Flemings was accused of using a homophobic slur against a player while playing for Phoenix Rising. This is another incident where we seem to be seeing more of it recently. I mean, in the UK especially, now back in the MLS. Racism is an issue that has been part and parcel of sports for a long time. And of course, kicking out racism, that campaign, I don't know where it is right now in terms of its success rate. But certainly this is another concerning issue because look, the matter is under investigation, so we don't know the full story just yet. However, if two players are hearing one thing and the player who is being accused said he did not say such a thing, I think we're going to have to sit and wait while the investigation unfolds, because then is to determine who is telling the truth here. Because there are times, to be fair, when people say things and you mishear something. And in the heat of the moment, as it was on that field on Saturday, you know, it could be misconstrued. But it's hard to say, but it's unfortunate, again, that it's surfacing again in Major League Football and global football, because especially in the United States, in a time when the country is so divided along racial and cultural lines, it could have significant impact on the career of Fountas.
Well, here's the thing, though. A couple of things. One, usually this would be a case of one man's word against another. But from what I've just told the viewers, it's more than one. It's a word of more than one man against one man.
Yeah.
All right. So for me, that kind of puts things in a particular way. And I just saw a shot there. It reminded me. On the opposition side was Ravel Morrison, a teammate and close friend of Damion Lowe. So they're playing for opposing MLS teams, but of course they're both reggae boys. So the word of more than one man against one man. So for me, Fountas is excused that, well, I didn't say so. Maybe he heard something else and he's hearing things. I don't think that will hold up. The second thing is this. This issue deals with people. You say that we've had more of these issues. I would think that we've had more of these issues because more players believe that there is justice to be had. And rather than hear things and ignore it, John Barnes famously, when he was playing for Watford before the Liverpool move, they threw bananas at him and he never looked to see, never stopped the game, called the referee's attention to it, to have the person thrown up, because that wasn't the culture at the time. He'd have been left alone and isolated by everybody were he to make that move. Today, a player could do that and expect justice. So players expect justice, so they are speaking out more. But the other thing is this, it's people. People will forever view racism through club lens. Is it my player that's accused of being a racist? Is he a player I like? Then he's not racist. Regardless of what was said, he did not say it, I support him. If it's a player from another team or a player on your team that you did not like, you will say, well, you know, yeah, he's racist, he should go. And that's the problem. That's why we'll never get away from this issue. As long as human beings exist, we will always have these issues.
And it goes back to the initial point about Flemings, because similarly, Flemings had denied saying the things that he said. But then somebody else heard. So those were the things that went into evidence against him. Eventually, he did concede that he did make some unfortunate comments and, of course, lost his place. Well, Phoenix Rising cut him. So, you know, so that right now, the things are skewed heavily against Fountas. And one of the things that I wouldn't say proud of, but I'm happy that did not happen, is that Damion didn't take the matter to a physical level when he heard what he heard. Because then he would have then put himself in a precarious situation as it is.
As they say in Jamaica, you give away your right.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Here's why Damion didn't take the thing. Well, I'm assuming one of the reasons, or maybe the main reason. Again, it goes back. There's justice to be had. I don't need to punch you in the face if you call me a racist, especially if I have a witness. I report you, you'll be dealt with, you'll be banned for how many months or how many games, you'll be fined, it will be a stain against you. People will always know that you are the guy in the heat of battle who did that. That, Leighton, is a welcome cloak of security that the players can put on, rather than have to take matters into their own hands as they would have had to do in the past.
I agreed, but here's a question I'll put to you. How do you then eliminate this kind of issue from the sport, George? Because it's been going on for as long as we have been alive.
Yeah.
Is there a way that it can be eradicated? I mean, just recently, we've heard greater issues about how to sanction players or administrators who use negative, well, not negative, but certainly racial slurs. Phoenix Suns owner actually was just fined $10 million and, of course, suspended for a year.
Yeah.
How do you stop that from happening?
There's a path. It's not simple, but has there ever been in the history of racist incidents on the field involving players, or racist confrontations between players and fans, a situation where the host team or the player from the offending team gets hit by a points deduction? Never. That's a way to go. Any player that you have that is found guilty of racially abusing an opponent or someone in the crowd, that player will be banned for the whole season, fined heavily, and you'll be docked 6 points. I'm guaranteeing you, Leighton, attitudes will change, because immediately the so-called education programs that take place behind the scenes at clubs to get players to trod the right line, those will mushroom and become bigger and more structured, because suddenly it will become infinitely important, more important for clubs to have players who are not inclined to do those things in the heat of battle. Yeah, that's just one way. And even then, maybe you'll have another problem, but that's a way to go.
Yeah, and let's hope that something is done, because it continues to inflame parties on both sides, and it's unfortunate, and it doesn't belong in life, and it doesn't belong in sport.
Here you go. All right, break time. Back with more in the SportsMax zone after these.